Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. So today I'll be playing part 4 stories, the stories of Destinies. So we're going to try and unlock the last truth.
But he was starting to feel like he was getting the hang of this. There was a way through to victory. He could feel it. He just had to keep running the path of Destinies. With that, the book fluttered back to the beginning, and he fell into it. The clouds parted over the Isles of Boreas. It was time to choose. The rebellion was in trouble. Ravens were scouting for the secret rebel base. They needed a game changer. Pieces of the Skyripper had surfaced, or so a scholar in the mountains had told him. Surely the weapon that banished the lost gods could defeat the Emperor. Also, a temple had risen out of empty desert. The Iblis stone was hidden there. It was a dangerous artifact. It could corrupt its user into a bloodthirsty monster. Maybe he could find a way to use it, to take its power without surrendering to its wickedness. And also, his old friend Lupino needed rescuing. Of course, Reynardo had a pretty strong suspicion that Lupino had betrayed the rebellion. But could Reynardo really leave an old friend to the Ravens?
So what we're going to do, we're going to build the Skyripper.
Every child knew about the Skyripper. The Transcendent Emperor had buried its pieces. What could have brought them to light? This Emperor, Isengrim III, had once been kind, but he'd gone mad. And now he was conducting secret, obscene rituals to bring back the lost gods. Had he, somehow, summoned the long-lost components of the legendary weapon out of the deep places of the earth? It was more than Reynardo could fathom. But if he could find a legendary weapon, he would use it.
So please leave any feedbacks or comments below. Give me a like and subscribe. Thank you for watching everybody. So this is the last truth that we are going to unlock. And it's going to be really quick.
As he set foot on the island, Reynardo couldn't help feeling a bit curious. Was Lupino still waiting to be rescued? No. He was probably drinking champagne with the ravens. Did ravens drink champagne? Did rabbits? Reynardo felt oddly thirsty, come to think of it. Why had he chosen the Skyripper? Reynardo never made plans that required constant vigilance. He was a hero. He didn't think too much. He just went with his gut and hoped it all worked out. The Skyripper was a long shot. He'd have to devote himself to it. No side journeys, no rescuing old friends. That was against his nature. Could he stick with it?
So this map is actually quite quick, I reckon. It's one of the
Where was
quickest
a
maps.
workbench when you needed one? Oh, never mind.
Oops. Almost got detected.
When I build my castle, thought Reynardo, all my gates are going to open with buttons, and all the levers will drop rocks at your head.
So we're going to go through this path, but we're going to just clear the monsters first.
The people who had built this castle, did they even know what monstrous weapon lay hidden within their walls? The Skyripper could destroy anything it touched, or so the legend said. As the Transcendent Emperor had fought the lost gods, thousands and thousands of times, but Reynardo had been through wars. The only merciful war was a short one. be the new aerobics craze. Am I right? Reynardo was running out of choices. Zenobia's love brought him only sorrow. His best friend was his enemy. And the Iblis stone... ooh, he shuddered. Best not to think about it. All that was left was the Skyripper, a weapon powered by a god's eye. So be it, then.
So the truth behind the Skyripper is shrouded in a thick fog. The most believable tale is that the Transcendent Emperor had used the Skyripper to banish Ibis, and the Tii buried the weapon and vanished. Was it self-imposed exile to rid the world of its last divine presence, or was it the price to pay for using such a tremendous power? Could the Skyripper and Ibis have a deeper connection than just a weapon and its victim? My ritual will summon the Ibis Stone Post. I should worry that will also cause the Skyripper to resurface. If that is the case, I should spare no resources to find it. A weapon that can banish a god is an invaluable bargaining chip. Should the old ones decide to double-cross me, it is their nature to try, but gods are predictable and I can rely on that to always be one step ahead. Emperor Eastern Grand. Number 3, Secret Journal. Anyways.
If only he had some way to break the ice. Or convince it he was a friend.
Well, I am his friend. So we can actually go this way and grab some chests, I believe. We'll just go backwards. I can't go through back this part. But this is where we'll come from if we actually go through this row. But what we did there was just a shortcut from here.
Reynardo wondered what would happen if he jumped. Would he be rescued by an emergency platform?
Treasure hunter. This will bring us back to the front.
These things could really use a hand.
Oh, oops. So we keep going, and going, and going.
Ah, a puzzle. Reynardo loved puzzles. Except when he couldn't figure them out. On the other hand, if there was a puzzle, it was probably meant to keep people away from something good.
So we actually don't need to solve the puzzle.
Slippy's hit, he thought. A gem of power. Ooh, he didn't find those every day.
So we are actually back to the puzzle. Okay, so now once we're upgraded this, everything will be so much easier. So it's actually like instant kill.
There it was. Skyripper's armature. The stuff that dreams are made of. Engineers' dreams, anyway. The device was intricate. No one alive had the skill to make a thing like it. How was it part of a weapon at all? He'd have to ask a scientist. But first, he'd get the second piece. Skyripper had a heart. A core that had come to rest on the next island. Well, there was another island he could reach. Zenobia had just invaded it with her father's Raven battalions. She must be encamped there still. But fighting Zenobia now, that made no sense at all. He'd already sacrificed one friend to get this armature, was it? He didn't need to hurry to face her. She would find him.
So what we're gonna do, we're gonna get the Skyripper. Obviously.
It was a no-brainer. He'd sacrificed his old friend Lapino to get the armature. And the armature was useless by itself, only a series of coils and wheels. War demanded sacrifices, and he would make more before the end. He would have to choose the greatest good, no matter how much it cost him. Zenobia. Well, he would see her sooner or later, across a battlefield or a sword's point before all this was over. He was sure of that. The power was in the core. Obviously, he had to get the core.
So we are going to try and get the core. And then once we get the core, we can do whatever we want. And then that's how we unlock the fourth truth. So if I level up one more time, then I think
Doubt sunk in before he was even out of sight of the Farfarer. Why had he chosen the Skyripper? It was the sort of path he'd always avoided. The path of responsibility, of seriousness. Had he grown up? He didn't feel grown up. He'd made this decision from his gut, like he always did. Somehow, he'd impulsively decided to stop being impulsive. Did that make any sense?
So dear Zenobia, the director of the academic Academy had told me how much he was impressed by academic performance and leadership. Somehow I doubt this was a session of bootlicking. I've seen plenty of those. The old toad is sincere. I am proud of you, my daughter. You will make a fine empress one day. On my end, great news. Professor Cavaris has been studying the Nexus. He has made a bold observation that Toad is a true genius. You know how that island is unique, constantly changing, new crystalline formation appearing, island fragments merging, splittering, slowly drifting held together by some invisible threads? Well, Professor Calaveras is convinced those changes are not random, but rather indicative of the living nature of the island. He has observed that certain changes on the Nexus follow or something precede a turbulence on our island. Landslide quick flood, the Nexus seems to resonate with those events. Maybe the island are of mind, and the Nexus is the brain. In any case, I'm funding a permanent scientific observatory on the Nexus. It will attract the Emperor's greatest mind. With Professor Calaveras at the helm, I anticipate a great age of enlightenment for the Emperor. With love, Father. Cool story. More fighting. Okay, so we are going up here, grab the big treasure chest.
The right jewel could really give you an edge. The wrong, well, it still looked pretty, didn't it?
I should never try and throw them, because I'll just die.
Reynardo got surprisingly unwounded.
So we are going to keep going up, up and away. So I think
There
there's like,
was something sour in the air. Like the earth had ruptured over something that had been fermenting for a very long time.
so we're gonna go through here.
Ooh, what's there? You almost never saw wild gogglers together like this. The toads had to train them not to peck each other to death.
No!
These to be imperial
Oh
gogglers.
man,
That meant ravens were up ahead.
that was a really dumb ass move by me.
That was always a rush.
Okay, I don't know just what happened. Oh man, more fighting.
How could you convince a firewall you're its friend?
by having a fire sword. That's how you convince it. So we're just back to here. Can actually go back. Oh, we actually can't go back. Sorry, guys. I thought I can go back, but I guess not.
There were fewer and fewer trees. There were only these huge crystalline growths. Had those been here before? He no longer heard birds except for the feverish cawing of the ravens when they attacked. He couldn't smell the small animals of the forest, the mice and rabbits. Where had they gone? And he was getting hungry, too. This was an unhealthy place to be. Reynardo hoped the other end of this portal wasn't suspended over the abyss.
So it actually makes life so much easier once you get 30 combo, and then it's pretty much instant kill from there on.
This chest was filled with reprints of the entire Sandman series. Reprints? What was the point of collecting those? Ooh, and there was something else.
Okay, so we're gonna keep going. So this puzzle is actually quite easy to solve.
This couldn't be good for global warming. Claw on him.
And that's it.
The 20-sided core made him feel physically sick. Once he had sneaked into a temple of the dark art, and he hadn't liked what he smelt and saw there. This felt like that. As quick as he could, he wrangled the icosahedron into the armature. The wheels began to spin, then glow. The sick feeling quickly spun away. Now he only felt sad. He had lost good friends for this war apparatus. Maybe Lapino wasn't such a good friend. Yeah, that made him feel better. He carried his prize back to the Farfarer. Now, he had to make his next move. There was a key Imperial outpost on the Nexus. If this really was some sort of super weapon, he could use it to wreak havoc on the enemy. And if it wasn't, well, better to know that before the final battle. But maybe he should show it to some scientists first. There was an observatory on the Nexus. Maybe he should go there before he fired it.
So we're gonna seek the help from the
If
scientists.
you've just assembled a weapon out of legend that can exile gods from the world, you'd want to have a scientist or two look at it. And even if they disagreed and he had time, He could ask Calaveras himself. Yes, the observatory would be his objective.
So we're gonna ask the scientists, and then after that, we're gonna go with Calaveras, and then after that, that will be and then one more, and that will be the final chapter, and then that's it.
Why had the parts of the Skyripper only surfaced now, thousands of years after the Transcendent Emperor had dismantled it? The mad Emperor Isengrim had performed terrible, bloodthirsty rituals to invoke the lost gods. Was that why these ancient artifacts were rising out of the ground? How perfect, then, that the Skyripper would reappear to be his destruction.
So we're gonna just get some free ores.
Maybe I should follow my nose, thought Reynardo.
And we are going all the way up. Get a chest, I believe.
Reynardo felt new powers ready to blossom within him, or something.
Woohoo, I leveled up. So I actually already read this. You guys, please, if you guys haven't seen this, pause it. And I'm going to slowly scroll through it for you guys to read. Pause it if you guys want to read, or if you're a slow reader. But I'm actually going quite fast, so that's it, guys. Anyway, so we are going this way, and then we're gonna go get another treasure chest, which is across.
He wished there were more pylons he could use the hook on. They really needed to construct additional pylons.
That's from StarCraft, guys. Okay, so we're gonna have more fight right here. There we go.
A legendary weapon was exactly what the rebellion needed. They were outnumbered. The once kind emperor had become a tyrant. But his ravens stayed loyal, for he fed them his victims, and the other animals were too frightened to rebel. Reynardo shuddered at what the emperor was trying to do. To bring back the lost gods, the Black Harvest, the Black Sun? No. He would stop that toad, no matter what the risk.
What I don't really understand is why are the ravens helping the toad?
Reynardo's path was clear. Let the scientists ensure the Skyripper was safe to use, bring it to the rebel base, and then assault the Imperial fleet for the win.
I mean, if you think about it, if you think about it, guys, I mean, wouldn't the
The
Toad
platform used a hybrid propulsion
Handy
system fueled by
Ravens.
anti-gravity and wishful thinking.
Can you guys actually tell each other apart? Because I'm thinking name tags.
So that was pretty easy. As I mentioned before, once you level up and got the like instant kill, the game is actually quite easy until you fight against the final map for the final part of the story. Now that is hard. So we are here at the end.
Reynardo was thrilled. The scientists seemed to think he'd put the Skyripper together right. But one Toad was worried.
Yeah, the Skyripper could tear a hole in existence itself. There are invisible strings that tie the universe together. If the Skyripper cut one, the hole would widen and widen until our whole existence fell into it.
Another Toad sighed.
Irving still believes in string theory. At least go see Calaveras.
Yeah, said the worried Toad.
He knows more than anyone else has forgotten about the Transcendent Emperor.
If anyone could tell him how to use this weapon safely, it would be Calaveras. It was he who had told Reynardo how to find it in the first place. But maybe he had to give up on using it as a weapon. Maybe he had to go to the secret rebel base and ask the generals there what he could do with a weapon that he dared not use.
So let's go see Calaveras.
Well, he should have known he'd have to consult Calaveras again. The scientists at the observatory were smart enough. But what did they know of the Transcendent Emperor? He hoped it wouldn't delay him too long. The rebels had scheduled the final battle soon. Every day they delayed risked the exposure of the secret base. And some soldiers were already drifting back to their homes and families. Calaveras would fix the Skyripper for him. And then he would win the final battle.
So I still got 2 more chapter. After this one more chapter. And then it will be chapter 5 with the ending. This is now chapter 4. So we just need to go and see Calaveras. Calaveras, I think. And that's it.
Maybe it was the cold. But after a few steps, Reynardo's optimism started to slump. What if Calaveras couldn't help? Did Reynardo dare use the Skyripper? Oh, he hated that he had chosen this path. It was so much simpler to rescue friends and attack enemies, even if some of those friends were more trouble than his enemies. Some of those enemies had been friends before and might be lovers after. Okay, it wasn't all that much simpler. No. Physics made his brain hurt. That, at least he was sure of. You know nothing, Jon Snow.
Okay, did he just make a comment about like, I don't know.
definitely easier to fight inanimate objects.
Yeah, I heard him saying like something about Jon Snow, so I thought he was talking about that HBO series. What's it called? Man, my memory's not working well. It's quite late, that's why. Yeah, that HBO series. What's it called? Do you guys know? Far out. What is that series called?
Welcome to Earth. Reynardo told the corpses. It was something he'd seen in a play once. Tried to focus on the now. The ravens who seemed everywhere all the time. Where did they hatch from? Were there giant raven hatcheries somewhere, or did they have families? Ooh, he didn't want to think about raven mummies raising their darling raven chicks. Yeah, Calvaris would help. He would make Reynardo feel better about using the Skyripper. And then Reynardo wouldn't have to worry about ravens ever again.
So I can actually, so we'll go through this way.
Reynardo wondered if his future self had commissioned these poles.
Oh man, what am I doing?
Boy, someone has spent a lot of money for a graduation present. Oh yeah, this is the bugged, actually. Oh, they really ought to put a railing on this thing, he thought.
Oh yeah, that's right. Game of Thrones. That's the series I was thinking about. Oh my god. My brain's not working really well because it's already like 1 a.m. at the moment. Let's take the long way.
He hadn't noticed that path before.
I think I have. It actually takes me to a scroll that you can read. So I'm not gonna read it because I already read it once. But for the new people who's watching this, you guys can have a look. Just pause it and then just keep reading, and then pause it and keep reading. Okay, so let's activate this.
You guys ever wonder why the Imperial Raiders are always hiring?
Man, I hate this. Man, that was hard. So the good thing about this part is like there's like 2 treasure chests right here.
Reynardo had heard stories of a dungeon where chests were filled with potions and weapons. Fairy tales. Reynardo had been focusing all his energies on the Skyripper. If Calaveras could not fix it, he'd be out of options. He would have to assault the Imperial fleet empty-handed.
At last, I can upgrade. So this is the one that you really want to get, and after that, just increase your health or your stamina, whatever you want.
Calaveras had never let him down.
Yeah, of course I can make it work better.
But when Reynardo explained about the strings, Calaveras grew thoughtful.
Oh, strings, you say? Well, the Arcana do speak of the ties that bind the world.
He drew many intricate symbols in the dirt.
Yeah, so, according to my calculations, each time you fire, I'm afraid there's a 1 in 120 chance you'll destroy the universe.
That's pretty good odds. That's like rolling, 21 dice and they all come up 6. What are the odds of that?
What? No! It's more like 2.716s in a row.
Anyway, with those odds, it won't happen if I use it just once.
Yeah, that's not right. Each time you use it... Okay, look, just don't use it ever.
All right, I guess. As he sailed away from the mountains, Reynardo could see clouds darkening. Rain? No. Ships. Imperial ships, swarming thick as bees. This was it. The big battle. They could not afford to lose this one. What if it did not go well? What if he had to use the Skyripper? Could he gamble the universe? On the other hand, what were the odds of rolling 21 6s in a row? The battle was not going spectacularly well. What had the rebels been thinking? They'd been thinking he would bring the Skyripper, or the Iblis Stone, or that he'd sideline Zenobia somehow, or turn her. Couldn't he use the Skyripper just once? After all, if chances were 1 in 128, that meant he'd for sure be okay the first time. They'd get worse each time he used it, but the first time would be okay, right? He wasn't sure that it was right. So he didn't fire the Skyripper. He just brought it along, in case. What's behind door number 2? Someone had told him the odds didn't change just because you'd had a streak of good luck. His gut told him that was wrong, though. And he always listened to his gut. On the other hand, 128 chances to win, but one of them would destroy the universe. Ooh, that seemed a bit serious. Maybe he could defeat the Emperor without firing the Skyripper. Maybe he could bluff, but with a real weapon. Like in cards, when you had 3 names, but you pretended you had a fizz-bin. That could work. There was an engraving. Maximum capacity, 130 people. Reynardo wondered idly if people who had built these poles had really, really long tentacles. He set up the Skyripper and let it warm up. He would bluff if he had to. Zenobia came out, flanked by a very daunting platoon of ravens. You won't actually use that.
she said in that annoying, I know everything because I'm a cat and you know nothing because you're just a fox voice she had. Oh, I know the odds. Good. Because there's a real chance you could destroy the universe. No, not the first time I use it. The odds are too low. What? No? Yeah, sure. The first time, the odds are practically nothing. They only go up if I use it a bunch more times. No, but that's not how odds work. Didn't you pay attention in class? Now surrender, or I'll use it. Just once, he said.
Don't. He felt sure the odds were with him. You have to go with his gut. That's what heroes do. Fire, he said. Please? The Skyripper fired. With a tremendous whoosh, the Emperor's flagship went up in flames. It was awesome. Then he noticed there was a hole in the air. A blackness, like a tear in a parchment. Wind was blowing into it, widening it. It grew larger, and even larger. Crates fell upwards into it, and the world itself seemed bent, like the reflection on a curved mirror, as it poured into the ravenous hole. Ah, 1 in 128. What are the odds? Thought Reynardo, and then everything fell into the hole and was gone. Oh, damn it. He lost again, and died. But there was burning Ubar behind him. He still had all his destinies ahead of him. But he'd learned another true thing. The core was powerful, but dangerous if used improperly.